Hi, I'm Ram Venketramani, Senior Director, Solutions Management, Service Provider Group, SEBU at VMware, and welcome you all to this Edge Solutions Innovation Showcase. If you are able to attend our recent VMware conference online, you would have heard our CEO emphasize the importance of edge computing to enterprises as a whole and to VMware as a technology enabler specifically. We want to accelerate the availability of edge computing to everyone, bringing resources and capacity that would normally be located in the cloud or a remote data center to locations that need data and processing closer, and that too with near instantaneous response times. CSPs are uniquely positioned to realize the potential of the edge with an abundance of locations across markets where servers can be added to RAN sites and central offices where they can tap into 5G and fiber networks. We have invited 5 partners to this session, offering examples of edge computing's potential to deliver compute and storage power where a factory, a drone, a vehicle, or even an OTT service is looking to stream content in 8K or control a fast-moving AGV on a warehouse floor. They are from Accedian. We have Richard Piasentin, who is the Chief Marketing and Chief Strategy Officer. From Vapor.io, we have Matt Trifiro, who is the Chief Marketing Officer. We have Xavier Leclercq, who is a VP of Business Development with Broadpeak. And from Ori Industries, we have Douglas Mancini, who is their Chief Commercial Officer. And finally, from ASOCS, we have Zimmerman, who is the Technical Director. Richard, if I can come to you first and talk a little bit about Accedian. Accedian is the leader in performance analytics and end-user experience solutions, dedicated to providing customers with the ability to assure their digital infrastructure while helping them to unlock the full productivity of their users. So, Richard, what is Accedian's value proposition and differentiation in delivering service and application assurance?
Ram, first, let me start by saying thank you very much for having Accedian here with you today. We're proud to be part of the VMware innovation ecosystem. So Accedian brings a cloud-native, multi-layer, active-passive performance monitoring solution that was designed from the ground up to meet the needs of service providers and enterprise to manage end-user experience across all layers and all domains of their network and service infrastructure. We do this while incorporating the core concepts of open APIs, both on the ingest of third-party data sets, so respecting the value of deployed telemetry in our clients, as well as open interfaces on the northbound side, which allows our systems to be easily integrated into northbound orchestration and automation systems. Accedian is used by 75% of the world's top 50 service providers, and we provide end-user experience management for a very significant amount of the mobile subscribers around the world.
That's actually a good segue. So just let's focus a little bit on that edge use case, right? So what do you think are some of the key performance monitoring and assurance capabilities that organizations will need for edge computing infrastructure?
You know, as you mentioned in your opening commentary, the whole vision around edge computing, mobile edge computing is the idea that to optimize the experience of an end user's consumption of a particular application, we will orchestrate where in that fabric of compute the application for that end user runs. That brings 2 different challenges that are quite important from Accedian's perspective anyway. First, the workload automation system or orchestration system needs to know what the best serving compute node is for that particular user at that particular time. In utilizing Skylight Analytics to monitor both the infrastructure performance as well as the application environment performance in real time fed into your orchestration systems at VMware allows for optimized workload distribution. Second, when you think about end user experience, and remember, end users here don't necessarily have to be people, they can be machines. But the point is, we're trying to optimize responsiveness of a particular application to that endpoint's requirements. To do so, you need to be able to monitor the performance of the actual application running inside of the compute infrastructure, riding across the serving infrastructure of whether it's CSP or an enterprise, their network and compute systems. With a multi-layered network architecture, along with a multi-layered cloud application layer, it becomes incredibly important for service providers and enterprises to deploy a service assurance solution that really is multi-domain, as well as capable of monitoring all layers of the infrastructure stack. One other thing I would point out, Ram, that's quite critical when we think about high performance edge use cases is the ability to measure performance not at a millisecond level. Rather, these high performance use cases, be they the AGV that you were talking about, be they the remote drone that you mentioned earlier, we're not talking about millisecond performance here. We're talking about microsecond performance. So the service assurance platform needs to respect the idea that high value services being offered by service providers and enterprises needs to be analyzed at the highest levels of granularity. Accedian's sensor layer, our ability to ingest across multiple domains, the ability to use AI and ML to look for correlation between serving infrastructure and application performance in real time really is critical for the service provider and enterprise of the future.
Thanks a lot, Richard. You kind of touched upon a point that I wanted to include in my third question, which is, as you look at deploying MEC-based services at the edge, in your opinion, what are some of the biggest challenges in assuring the performance for those MEC services?
That's a great question, Ram. When you think about it, right, when we're talking about MEC, and we're talking about workload orchestration, powered by VMware, by the way, which is really important. You're orchestrating where workloads go in order to make the best possible performance attainable. In order to do so, just as an example, it's important for your automation systems, VMware's automation systems, to be aware of the infrastructure layer that is serving the compute locations where a particular workload, an app, for lack of a better word, is going to run to serve a customer across, oh, by the way, an Open RAN infrastructure, as an example, running on top of VMware infrastructure. Again, you're going to want infrastructure visibility incorporated into the orchestration of where your workloads are going. And that needs to be in real time. And like I said before, it needs to be at microsecond level, not millisecond level. On top of that, why do we deploy MEC? Why do we deploy Edge? Why are we doing this in general? We're doing it because we're trying to optimize the experience of an end user all the way at the other end of a high performance application. So the ability when you're deploying MEC to monitor the performance of the actual application the consumer is using and correlate that across all of the serving infrastructure is critical to that SLA management that will allow service providers and enterprises to either optimize their business in the enterprise perspective or monetize their investments in the service provider side.
Thank you, Richard. Next, we will talk to Matt Trifiro from Vapor.io. One of the biggest challenges facing enterprises as they look to deploy private 5G networks and Industry 4.0 applications is the cost and complexity of implementing these services with on-premises data center and IT infrastructure. Vapor.io has solved these problems by bringing its kinetic grid infrastructure to within microseconds of the factories, retail stores, warehouses, and all other facilities that need those capabilities. So Matt, can you tell us how the kinetic grid benefits these enterprises?
Yeah, well, first, you can think of the Kinetic Grid as the internet, cloud, and networking infrastructure woven directly into the fabric of a city, much like an electric grid. It's largely invisible, it goes everywhere, it's available on demand whenever and wherever you need it. And communication service providers use the Kinetic Grid with VMware's Telco Cloud platform to both densify their networks, but perhaps more importantly, to deliver new services to enterprise customers in a local market. So there are a few ways that the Kinetic Grid combination benefits end users. So first, it brings capabilities to the enterprise that they never had before. In the past, you had to choose between on-prem and cloud, and there were trade-offs for each. But now there's a third option, which we call near premises, and that's where you can deliver an on-premise performance with cloud agility and cloud economics through the Kinetic Grid. Second, because the Kinetic Grid exists all over a city, it gives communication service providers a way to deliver enterprise customers all the benefits of on-premise workloads without them needing to even own a data center or IT equipment on their premises. They get all the performance, security capabilities that would be on premises without the cost and complexity of on-premises infrastructure. And then really, I think the most important is all of this becomes a catalyst for Industry 4.0, making it much easier and cost-effective for enterprises to leverage the transformative applications such as cloud robotics, AR, VR, smart retail, and so on.
Great, Matt. So where is Kinetic Grid being made available today?
So Ram, the Kinetic Grid is live today in 6 cities: Atlanta, Chicago, Dallas, Phoenix, Pittsburgh, and Las Vegas. And we're on track to turn up another 30 US cities over the next year. And eventually we'll scale globally.
Great. So you mentioned about Kinetic Grid supplementing the workloads, running the workloads for communication service providers. So can you describe a little bit more as to how you work with the CSPs as well as the hyperscale clouds?
Yeah, so we are what you call cloud and carrier neutral. This means that our Kinetic Grid infrastructure is available to all cloud providers and all communication service providers on an equal access basis. For communication service providers in particular, we're both a platform for densifying their public network, as well as a neutral host provider, enabling them to deliver private 5G services into factories, warehouses, and multi-tenant buildings.
Now let's talk about the edge and the potential it holds for content delivery networks with Xavier Leclercq of Broadpeak. Broadpeak offers advanced video distribution technologies that are used by large content providers and communication service providers to deliver their video services. The company's systems and services help operators increase market share and improve subscriber loyalty with superior quality of experience. So Xavier, we have announced a new partnership between Broadpeak and VMware. Why Broadpeak and VMware, and why now?
Yeah, thank you for having us today, Ram. It's a pleasure to be here. So for the last 10 years, basically, Broadpeak has been helping many tier one operators or CSPs delivering their video services, right? We've worked with CSPs like America Mobile, T-Mobile, Orange to build their delivery networks to offer video services to their subscribers. And what we've seen over the last few years, right, with the introduction of streaming is a change in consumer behavior, right, where people want to access content on various devices in their home or on the go. And we know this puts a lot of pressure on the CSP networks, where we see a high demand on the networks to sell a lot more video content, right? So when we look at video, you're asking why now. When we look at video, we think video is an interesting application, right? Especially when it runs on the CSP networks, because the consumption varies a lot over time. The consumption is low in the morning, it then ramps up late afternoon, peaks in the evening, and then drops back down late in the evening, right? So video delivery is one of these applications for which having flexible capacity really helps, right? Because the demand is fluctuating throughout the day. And today, when combining the dynamic demand with the appetite for streaming, it means that we see sometimes very large peaks of traffic. So when deploying on VMware, it allows us to scale the video delivery function so that the capacity can follow the demand. So I would say that VMware helps us transform the video delivery into a network function that can be deployed dynamically and to scale it when needed.
Okay, great. So you mentioned that video delivery is likely to become a network function. Can you elaborate a little bit more as to what that really means?
Yeah, sure. So there's one big driver, right, which is we're heading towards a world with a single video delivery function, right? Something that can be used for all the video delivery needs. And if you go back a few years ago, CSPs, they used to bundle video services with their broadband services to create stickiness. But with the rise of the OTT players in the last, let's say, 10 years, we've seen video being delivered over the top, so decoupled from the CSP networks. And we are now at the point where the OTT providers drive massive audiences. I'll take two examples here, Netflix and Disney. If you look at Netflix, they have about 220 million subscribers. Disney has about 115, 120 million subscribers. And what we realized is that the global CDNs, they cannot meet the expectations of Disney and Netflix in terms of cost and reach. So if you look at Netflix in details, right, 10 years ago, they decided to build their own CDN called Open Connect, and based on appliances deployed inside the CSP networks. And today they deliver 100% of the Netflix traffic using this infrastructure. So as soon as you press play on Netflix, you are being served by an appliance close to you. So that's, the first example. Second example is Disney, right? If you talk to Disney streaming services, they are driving something called the Open Caching Initiative within the Streaming Video Alliance. And open caching is a big initiative, right? It aims to open the private CDNs today owned by the CSPs to third-party content providers, right? So that's the Disney Plus content, for example, can be delivered by a Broadpeak CDN, deployed by a CSP, say, Vodafone, for example. And I believe this collaboration is very interesting, right? Since everybody benefits from it. Disney gets a better access to more capillarity, more options to serve its content. The CSPs, they see an opportunity to monetize their infrastructure and manage the video traffic better. And the end customer that has a better experience with the content that is being served locally close to his or her location. So the net result is being an efficient video delivery platform with a great quality of experience.
You talk about the experience and the associated quality. So why is quality so important?
Yeah, so no one likes to see their video stream buffering, right? Especially when it's live football going into the living room. And I think we are now at the pivotal time in the industry where consumers prefer to use streaming rather than legacy broadcast technologies like satellite or terrestrial television. And we see it, for example, in Italy today, where the top soccer game, the Serie A, is not broadcasted anymore. It is only available in streaming with an OTT provider called DAZN. Right. So in those environments, Broadpeak provides a technology that allows the CSP, like Telecom Italia, to open their network and allow DAZN to leverage the video delivery assets they can offer, right? That Telecom Italia can offer. And in this case, for example, it's multicast, right? So to me, this is exactly what needs to be done to solve the challenge around video delivery, right? Whether it's multicast or unicast, the CSP own content or third-party content, everything can be delivered through a containerized piece of software like a Broadpeak CDN. And now we also know that the video, in the video world, the quality comes with proximity, right? The ability to serve content very close to where it is going to be consumed. So to deliver at scale, the quality that is expected, CSPs have no choice but to distribute the content further and distribute their video functions to the edge. And you see there are a lot of conversations around the edge, right? And CSPs often ask us, what is a good application to run at the edge? The question is really, what is the application that is going to justify the deployment of an edge infrastructure? And in other words, if I'm going to open a new bus line for passengers, for example, who buys the bus, right? My view is that because of the quality and scale, the video delivery is definitely a good fit to run on the Telco edge cloud. So definitely a good passenger for the bus. But it may even be a strong candidate to buy the bus, right? Because the CDN today, they rely on an existing business case, right? We know how much the OTT providers are paying the global CDNs, and this money can be diverted to the CSPs who are providing a CDN function on the Telco edge cloud. Deploying this video delivery function into many more locations is where the traditional approach of Broadpeak, doesn't scale anymore. It cannot be on bare metal. It has to be virtualized. And this is where deploying a containerized software load onto VMware, can deliver this compelling experience that all customers are expecting.
I definitely agree with that, Xavier. I think that CSP is one of their main monetization opportunities is the CDN. It's a low-hanging fruit that they can immediately go and leverage upon. Thank you. Thanks a lot, Xavier. Thanks a lot for joining us today. Next up is Douglas Mancini from Ori. Ori products power the next generation of intelligent applications through unparalleled access to global infrastructure. The company is laying the foundation for developers to seamlessly deploy to uncharted computing infrastructure across the globe, turning it into a programmable distributed cloud. So Douglas, how is Ori innovating in the edge technology for telcos?
Well, thanks, Ram. So, if you look at CSPs and telcos in general, there's a lot of talk about edge. We've heard it from some of the other panelists today and edge use cases. One of the things that comes up again and again and again is monetizing the 5G network and the 5G investment, the 5G core, now that it's virtualized. But when you talk to the CSPs, how are they really going to monetize it? What are the use cases? Is microseconds really required? Is even double-digit milliseconds required? Well, actually, they don't always know. And with Ori Industries, we not only bring a business case, and as Xavier very well said, the bus, who's going to pay for the bus? We bring the bus, we bring the business. We have curated a marketplace of ISV workloads around the globe, which are edge ready and deployed across the Ori net, which is our own metro set of sites. And we bring this to the CSPs as part of a business that they can deploy immediately on their Ori Global Edge powered unified operation plane.
Great. So what is Ori's role in the future of enterprise IT infrastructure management and orchestration? How does this play to the enterprise side of the world?
Well, enterprise is just as exciting, if not more. So if you think about enterprises and how they've evolved their infrastructures over the last 10 or 15 years, even 20 years, it's incredibly distributed. It's incredibly heterogeneous, which makes deploying workloads, especially from small ISVs that require edge compute, as well as hyperscale compute, as well as compute that may sit in private clouds, it's incredibly complex. What Ori does through our unified control plane is reveals this infrastructure as being homogeneous. So that's one way. I mean, the other way is the hyperscalers, right? Which hyperscaler do you choose? Do you always have to choose one hyperscaler to run a workload? Well, not with Ori, you don't. You can move between the various hyperscalers that are available to you. And even more than that, you may decide that some of the workloads you've deployed in the public cloud actually are not economical and not beneficial to run there. Well, we can help you move those workloads back with the help of a VMware virtualized solution to you on premise or into your private cloud or even onto your IoT devices. So that enterprise space is hugely exciting for us.
Great. So recently at VMworld, we just announced a joint partnership between VMware and Ori, particularly for offering interoperable edge and hybrid cloud for enterprises. So what are some of the benefits of this partnership for the joint VMware and Ori customers?
Well, as I said before, with the CSPs, it's the ability to take their VMware virtualized network, whether it be 5G or otherwise, and resell this to their enterprise customers as a true edge solution without all the complexity. For the enterprise customers, it's the ability to run new workloads, old workloads, legacy systems in the most efficient and performant way across their entire edge gradient.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, Douglas.
Thank you.
And finally, ASOCS. ASOCS provides Industry 4.0 software-led cloud-based 5G private network solutions that are easy to implement and run as a traditional Ethernet-based network on a standard IT system. ASOCS enables manufacturing to automate with all the benefits of 5G, including configurability, performance, ultra-low latency, multiple simultaneous devices, stability, security, and safety. So today we are going to be talking to Neve Zimmerman, who is a technical director at ASOCS. So, Neve, what lies behind the direction ASOCS has taken in the mobile network industry?
So that's a great question, Ram. ASOCS is leading the way in adoption of 5G private networks. We take our knowledge and experience with 5G and O-RAN capabilities, and we apply it in a meaningful way, and we enable full flexibility, both in business model and network configuration for enterprise. We are starting with the customer's current business needs and seamlessly scale up towards their future goals. And this is basically what makes ASOCS solution appealing for our targeted manufacturing market.
So let's focus a little bit on the manufacturing sector a little bit. So in your opinion, what are some of the core functions you believe are required in order for the manufacturing segment to adopt this technology?
Okay, in simple words, ASOCS offers a solution that has all of the benefits of 5G, but with the ease of traditional networks. We offer the best possible network solution for manufacturing. We enable multiple simultaneous devices, such as AGVs, drones, cameras, all being managed and connected in the most efficient, stable, and secure technology. ASOCS solution is hardware agnostic, and it gives manufacturer control over their infrastructure, network configuration, and ease of scale. We believe in 5G RAN as the enabler for Industry 4.2 use cases, and this is what we do. We enable it for the industry.
So I know ASOCS has been in the industry for a while, and you've got a lot of deployments and POCs going on. So based on your experience with real life installations, what can you tell us about the private 5G market?
That's a very interesting question, Ram. ASOCS has already seen the growth of different industry reports on papers, but we have experienced the high demand firsthand with growth of many new installations this year. Virtually all the main manufacturing countries in Southeast Asia and most of those in Europe already have 5G spectrum assigned for private network use. And we see the spectrum is adopted by manufacturing at an astonishing rate of growth. Additionally, one of the key drivers has been to offer a SaaS model, a pay-as-you-grow business model, that allows the flexibility to grow as you need with a flexible business plan. All of that is part of the regular IT function on a single management dashboard of the industrial enterprise. Now let's get specific for a second and break the misconception of what industrial enterprises really need at this stage. We see that the average plant size is under 30,000 square feet. They require around 30 to 50 simultaneously connected devices, which for the most part are cameras and AGVs. And these plants do not require the 10 gigabit of capacity. Most of them are barely scratching the capacity of 1 gigabit. But this is only the tip of the iceberg when getting to know the need of that industry in first hand.
Okay, good. So from an ASOC standpoint, why do you think it was important for you to partner with VMware?
Well, Ram, VMware is the key enabler for us to reach many of our goals. For example, we want the implementation and management of 5G private networks to be as simple as running any traditional network on standard IP. VMware provides high trust level with their solution, as the TCP edge, for example, and tight validation of their solution with many different vendors and servers. And at the business level, VMware virtualization platforms are aligned with the ASOC SaaS business model. That enables us to meet the market needs for 5G RAN SaaS solutions.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, Neve, and thanks a lot to all the panelists who are able to join us today in this session. And thank you everyone again for joining and watching this session. If you would like more information about any of these partners, please look at the resource links on this session's webpage and also visit us at telco.vmware.com. Thank you. Thanks a lot.